For nearly 80 years since the end of the Second World War, the US dollar has effectively been the currency of the world. For our entire lifetimes, there was virtually no place on the entire globe you could go that would turn down a 20. Andrew Jackson's face beside the famous seal of the US Treasury was probably America's best-known export. From Dar es Salaam to Sri Lanka to the smallest gold mining outpost in the Amazon basin, every shopkeeper on earth recognized a $20 bill. The dollar was universal, and not just universal in commerce, so the majority of international transactions were conducted in dollars, but universally held as a long-term store of value globally. The world's central banks stockpiled US dollars, far more than any other currency. Now, most Americans may not have known that, or they did, but it doesn't matter whether they knew it. It was very good for everyone who lives here. Because there were so many US dollars in circulation outside of the country, the cost of borrowing money inside the country remained artificially low. And that's one of the reasons that in this country, America, middle-class people could buy their own homes. The US government, meanwhile, was able to run up astronomical debts without many obvious consequences. Now, from time to time, the Congress would debate something called the debt ceiling, but it was abstract. For most people, the entire topic didn't seem very relevant to their lives because for most of that time, it really wasn't. America printed the US dollar, we controlled the global reserve currency, and that meant that for us, money was cheap. We had privileges that nobody else in the world had. It's been very nice, but what would happen if it ended? You don't even really want to think about that because the consequences would be too ugly, really ugly. But we started to worry about it about a year ago, really the day the Russian military rolled over the Ukrainian border. Now, by itself, that was a destabilizing event. War always is destabilizing, always challenges the existing order. But it was the West's reaction to the Russian invasion that seemed ominous. Policymakers in the US went insane. Joe Biden, helped by his Republican allies in the Senate, appeared to be determined not simply to topple the Russian government in some kind of regime change war, but to blow up the post-war economic order that had served the US so generously for so long. So we thought at the time that the real threat to our future wasn't just the billions we were sending to Zelensky. That was reckless, but probably not going to end America. The real threat was the unprecedented economic sanctions that Joe Biden was allowed to, in fact, encouraged to, impose. Those sanctions, you'll recall, were supposed to hurt Russia. But even in March of last year, it seemed obvious they were going to hurt the United States much more than they hurt Russia. Here's what we said 13 months ago. We should prepare to lose our position as holder of the world's reserve currency. That is happening in slow motion. It's unmistakable. Now, the Biden people seem to have no idea this is going on, or maybe they want it to happen. Joe Biden was up there at the State of the Union bragging about how he took 30 points off the Russian ruble in a single day. Hooray, good for us. But once we stop celebrating our win, the destruction of the Russian economy, they deserve it. You got to wonder, is there a downside to this? Could it be a Pyrrhic victory? Let's see. These policies have driven Russia, China, India, Turkey, and other countries to accelerate their flight from the US dollar. Now, to be clear, that's the majority of the global economy. This may be the most reckless and destructive thing any American president has ever done to the United States.
When you're taking the debt from $32 to $50 trillion, are you concerned who's going to buy that debt? And also at what rate they'll expect to be compensated for buying riskier and riskier debt? Are you concerned about that?
Well, if the real net interest cost of the debt remains low relative to GDP and we're on a sustainable fiscal...
Well, we're not on a sustainable path. You're going to drive the debt from somewhere around $32 trillion up to about $50 trillion, correct?
Is this it? Is this the end of the U.S. dollar? And what would replace the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency? Why? Well, if that happens, then the U.S. is about to see rougher times ahead. And don't even get me started on the rest of the world. We all know how relentless and, dare I say, cruel the Asian market and rulers can be. It's going to be even worse if they choose to align their powers with Russia. There's nothing stopping these rulers from dictating their values to the rest of the world. So what is the best solution for this? Who else can step up and replace the dollar and ensure a brighter and better future for the rest of the world. Let's roll that intro before we get down to business. As always, welcome to Money Side, your favorite crypto channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you get updates when we drop new videos. And don't forget to smash that like button, and you can always leave a comment or a question in the section below. We are on the verge of the collapse, apparently, of the US dollar. Kim.com tweeted, "It's over. The Obama, Clinton, Biden gang has done it. The irreversible and accelerating destruction of the US dollar value, and therefore to the value of all American-owned assets. Get out of the US dollar, get it into gold, silver, and crypto. Don't use banks." Right now, it seems the dollar may not survive the coming storm, and we could see a change in power, especially when it comes to the world reserve currency. But the one thing that lives rent-free in my mind is never bet against the US dollar. I mean, there's a reason why this currency has stayed afloat for all these years. I'm pretty sure the Biden administration has something up their sleeves, especially when it's so obvious that the dollar is close to throwing in the towel. From my experience, when things are too obvious, the market tends to go in the opposite direction. Or maybe instead of the yuan or other fiat replacing the dollar, we could see a change in history where crypto becomes the world reserve currency. Yeah, I know that sounds a little crazy, but hear me out for a second. Crypto is decentralized and will not be controlled by any country. It seems impossible, but that could be the only option for all governments to have equality for the first time in history. And we all know the United States has reigned above every other government just because of their status. And if another fiat currency takes over, we would be in the same loop all over again. That's why I do believe the best answer to this is XRP. This coin has gone through tough times with the government and still survived. It offers the perfect platform for CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, which is all we need to move to the next phase of a cashless world. Ripple will be at the center of all this, so be sure anyone who invests in XRP this early can become the next millionaire. All we need to do is wait for when Ripple will win this SEC versus Ripple case. Or what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below.
I mean, let's just talk about Gary Gensler at the SEC. He's a Warren disciple. This guy, in my mind, is a bad faith regulator. He's been blindly spraying the crypto community with enforcement actions while completely missing the true bad actors. He says he's got an open door, Laura, but a company like Coinbase, right, which accessed that open door and started working with Gary Gensler's SEC. By the way, Coinbase, I would argue, is one of the most regulatory compliant crypto companies out there. Well, guess what? Gary Gensler might have an open door, but it is an enter at your own risk door, because what he does is, despite several meetings over several months, Gary Gensler's SEC refused to provide feedback on a product. It was called the Earn product that Coinbase was looking to list. And instead, after all these meetings and nothing happening, the SEC slapped Coinbase with a Wells notice regarding the very issues on which Coinbase was asking for their feedback. Clearly not the way the government should be serving Americans. And it sends a clear message, I believe, to the broader crypto community. And that directly is Gary Gensler is not regulating in good faith.
If you enjoyed this clip, watch the full episode now on Unchained.
Talking directly to China about this conflict, the Russian aggression, what is at stake, the consequences for our Europe, the consequences for the Near East and Middle East, as well as for the African continent and so many others, it means to try and engage them in a strategic relationship that may be more complex than what we would like. This is what I will discuss. You already understood that. Tomorrow, in the day with the president, we will try to build, in a way, engage China toward a shared responsibility for peace and stability.
As always, do your own research and always trade safely. Please keep in mind, we're not a licensed financial advisor. All videos on this channel are intended for entertainment purposes only. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, and let's have a conversation. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Please click on that subscribe button below and turn on notifications so you get informed when we drop new video. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next Money Side.